Welcome back, Shalloners. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite rappers, BHAD BHABIE. BHAD BHABIE. Bhad Baby? Are we getting closer? Cash Me Outside. That's who we're going to talk about. Not just BHAD BHABIE. We're going to talk about how to deal with being abandoned by a parent. Now, I talked about this on a new platform that I'm on, Esteem. It's a platform that is allowing us to talk about things that YouTube really won't let us get into, either because we're talking about spicy things like sex or bullying. YouTube won't even let me talk really about bullying in videos. If I talk about it, they demonetize the video, and it's like, I'm not posting how to bully someone. Like, I'm posting how to wreck it. It just makes me crazy. So I'm doing different kinds of videos over on Esteem. Head over there. It's ad-free. It's $1 a month, super affordable. And I'm also sharing some like raw personal story times on there. And one of them was about my issues with my father and talking about how being sort of abandoned by one parent affected me in my life and how it's sort of fueled a lot of my successes, but obviously a lot of crazy. And if anybody can understand that, it's BHAD BHABIE, because she, to me, and I am a fan of hers, like I love her, maybe because I see a little bit of myself in her, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Before we do, just want to remind you guys that if you want to connect with me, there's a few different ways. Definitely follow me on Instagram at shallonlester. I let you guys weigh in on a video topic. I'll post a headline and be like, hey, what do you want to see? And then we can vote, which is great. Love the feedback. Also, if you have a personal private chit chat with me you would like, find me on my website, shallonlester.com. Also, find me on Cameo if you want a video question answered, if you want a birthday shout out for someone, a pep talk for yourself, any little thing like that. And like I said, find me on Esteem. Head on over there. It's a really cool platform, and I want to know what sort of sexy topics you guys want to see, and we'll tackle those ASAP. But don't worry, I'm still doing videos here. Also, big shout out and a thank you to today's video sponsor, Raycon. Now, I've talked about Raycon earbuds before. They sent them to me, and I was like, I don't know, I'm really attached to my AirPods. You know, I like want to look cool and be part of the AirPod crew. No, those days are gone. First of all, let's talk about the aesthetic of these. I mean, could these be more me? They come in so many colors too. So if rose gold isn't you, and aren't they pretty? And they pair super seamlessly. They're like, let me pair with something right now. They're great. They lay so, all right, they're talking to me. They lay really flat in your ear. Whoa, they're like earplugs. Like they really drive out a lot of noise. They lay super flat, which means I can fall asleep with them in. It's great when you travel. It's great if you like to fall asleep listening to music or a podcast. The price point is also so much less, so much more affordable, and so much less ridiculous than the other brands. It's like, give me a break, like $175. Are you kidding me? But what I really love about these is they're not so sensitive. I was on the phone with customer service the other day for like a half hour, you know, just getting like more and more hysterical and insane waiting. Finally, I get on and I went to adjust my like Apple ones and it clicked off. And I was like, nuclear. If I had launch codes for nukes, I would have just like mashed my hand on the keyboard and just like incinerated the whole world. I was so angry. These don't do that. So that's when I was like, we're all done here. So head to the website, use the code, get a discount, level yourself up. So let's talk about BHAD BHABIE. You know, I've said before that I like her. Even though I don't understand why her name is this, I don't understand why it just couldn't be Bad Baby. Bad Baby. There's no other Bad Baby out there that she was like competing with. It's not like she's trying to name herself like Jay-Z and spell Z in a weird way. Like, just be Bad Baby. And you know how I feel about grammar. Also fonts, that's a whole other thing. Like the rapper DaBaby. Just say the. Charlemagne the God. Megan the Stallion. I just want to clip off extra E's and stuff. But I've always liked her because, like I said, I see some of myself in her. And I also love her music. Hi, bitch. That's an anthem. I do not run, I reload it. You know, that's like the slogan of the NRA. Don't retreat, reload. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to. Emotionally and maybe physically, because now I live in Montana and literally everyone has a gun. Everyone has a gun. It's crazy. You know, but this is America and there's also bears. But yeah, I see myself in her because I don't know if you ever watched the Dr. Phil episode that she was on, I think 2. I watched Dr. Phil. I love Dr. Phil. You know, I love him. And she wasn't just on there just to be a mess. Like, he was trying to help her, and it was, my teen is out of control. And one of the impetuses of her behavior was her father left, or her mother left her dad, whatever it was. The dad's not in the picture. He'll kind of like dance in and out. And when she became like super viral famous because Cash Me Outside, how about that? How about that? Her dad was like trying to come back in her life and saying, hey, she's out of control. I want to help her. And she's like, who the fuck are you now? Who is you now? In her weird accent that she just made up. Someone called it a black scent. I'd never heard that before. Is that what that is? I don't know. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack there. But, you know, her vibe was, where the fuck have you been, dude? Now when I'm famous, now you give a shit about my well-being. That's interesting. Where was all this concern for my well-being when I was 10, when I was 5? Like, where's the concern from my mother who's been raising me by herself, you know? And so I get that. And again, go to InfStream. I hate that name. Just go there and watch my video on my issues with my father. And I've talked before in a video about BHAD BHABIE and her, you know, fractured friendship with Billie Eilish. And that BHABIE is how so many of us kids of single parents are. We have to be the sword and the shield. You know, my mom is like a literal earth angel. She is so sweet and she is so genuinely good. She is just genuine goodness. And I am half goodness. My father was not a good person. I believe he was a bit wicked. And I sense that in myself, you know, and I do good things, not because it's what I organically always feel like doing. It's what I choose to do. I make the solid choice to do the good thing instead of the thing that I might feel like doing. And that to me is character. I've said in other videos, character is not impulse. Character is not intent. Character is decisions. Character is behavior. And we are always in control of our own behavior. We just are. That's the gift and the curse, right? That's the good news and the bad news. So because my mother is just such a good person, I always felt like I had to be the heavy. I had to be the muscle, the bodyguard, you know, and I am that person for a lot of people in my life. You know, it's like someone's being mean, send in Shallon. Someone needs a talking to, send in Shallon. I'm not utilized, I am deployed. You know, I am weaponized many times. And, you know, I remember, whatever, it's uninteresting examples, but this has been a role that I've played, and I don't always want to play that role. And so, you know, I think the first step to change anything is becoming aware of it. But yeah, I would see myself in BHABIE, and that it's like, you want me to defend you and look out for you and protect this family unit, but then you question the manner in which I do that. I bring this movie up all the time, A Few Good Men, with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. And at the very end, there's a scene where Nicholson's on the stand and Tom Cruise is like grilling, you can't handle the truth. It's that movie. And he's like, Jack Nicholson says, you sleep under the blanket of freedom I provide, and then you question the manner in which I provide it. And I was like, that resonated with me so much. It's like, you enjoy the outcome of my personality. You enjoy it when I get shit done, when I defend you, when I stick up for you. But then you turn around, it's like, you need to tone it down. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? You weaponized me. You activated me. You called me up into duty. And now you're saying, well, I don't know, but you still enjoy the fruits of my labor, the fruits of my claws. And I'm sure Danielle feels like that. That's a real name, Danielle Bergoli. It's just a cute name. You know, I'm Italian. I love a good Italian girl. But I know that she has become like that because of the estrangement with her father. And I feel that. And so I feel this sort of weird kinship with her, you know? So recently she went to rehab. And when she did, I was really surprised because that just does not seem in her nature to be self-aware enough to be like, I have a problem. But her management was like, we're so proud of you. She went for prescription drugs and childhood trauma. And that's the thing with drugs, right? What are drugs? They're just anesthesia. And drugs come in all forms. Yes, they come in pill form, powder, weed, whatever. They also come in boy form. They come in shopping form. They come in gambling form. They come in anger form. They come in plastic surgery form. What we're trying to do with drugs is distract ourselves, to anesthetize something that's going on inside because we don't want to deal with it. Because whatever that thing is, that is what we here call the psychological splinter. And splinters are fucking awful because you get a splinter and you're immediately faced with this choice. You feel like you're a Civil War like soldier with like, we're gonna have to cut this leg off, it's getting gangrenous, you know, and you're like, no, just let it heal. You're like faced with this impossible no-win option. Do I yank this splinter out? Do I dig around and dig it out, which is gonna be painful and scary and it might just go in deeper and then it's never gonna get out? Or do you leave it there and let it fester, right? And you know if it festers, fuck, it's gonna hurt so long, but you don't wanna be brave and pull it out. That's how our traumas are too. I don't wanna be brave and pull this out. I don't want to be brave and go to rehab and dig around and find that splinter and pull it out, even though I know once I do, I'm going to start to heal. But that's the thing. We don't know that once we do, we're going to start to heal. We think we're going to dig for that splinter and then we're going to die of blood loss or they're going to cut our leg off, because that's what our psyche is telling us. Do you know what our psyche wants more than anything? To avoid pain. Because if you can avoid pain, if you can compartmentalize, wall things off, live in denial, you can have that energy to hunt for food, to mate, to do just these caveman things that our brain at its very base level is hardwired to do. Keep you alive. That's great. That's great if you want to like delve into some issues. First of all, we got to hunt for food. But that caveman brain hasn't necessarily caught up to things. I don't need to hunt for food. God knows I don't need to mate. I'm pretty good on that front. Oh, stretch out again. I'm sorry. So it's time that we override that. It's like, no, I don't need to go like hunt an elk. No, I'm in Montana and literally that's what people do for fun. I'm going to tackle these issues. So how do we tackle these issues? How do we avoid becoming the bad bhadbhabie, you know, and having just a lot of issues? Oh, because here's why we're talking about her. She got out of rehab and things haven't been going well. Evidently, she posted a video on Twitter of her drinking orange juice and vaping. You know how I feel about vaping. And twerking. And people are like, great, rehab clearly didn't fucking work. First of all, this girl is 17. Like, let's just leave her. Just leave this bitch be. Okay, so someone commented, wait, what'd they comment? Well, rehab didn't last long. And she wrote back, no shit, I'm back. And let's make something clear. I was not no fucking perkhead, okay? I hate double negatives. Barbara finds one pill and has a heart attack, but I'm back and better than ever. So her mom, Barbara, apparently found one pill and had a heart attack. Danielle, you don't have drugs unless you're doing drugs. You know what I didn't bring to my house in Montana? A brick of cocaine. Do you know why? Because I don't do cocaine. I mean, not anymore. I did it, like, you know, in New York. But I also didn't bring meth, LSD, acid, weed. I didn't bring any drugs, as it turned out, because I don't do any drugs. I bought lots of candy because that's my drug of choice. That's my distraction. That's my vice, you know? But it's like, if your mom found one pill, it's like finding one mouse. That means there's 10,000 you don't see. And very few people get sent to rehab because they take one pill. And so it's kind of disappointing that she, you know, maybe isn't acknowledging that this could have been a really great opportunity to dig out that psychological splinter. But you know what? BHAD BHABIE'S on her own. Let's talk about how we can overcome this. So I want to reference an article that I hate this iPad. This iPad is my mortal enemy. My bangs and my iPad. They both exist to do nothing but serve me. And yet they're like, no, fuck you. No. So Dr. Claudia Black, she's written stuff for Psychology Today that I like. She does also someone to follow and who does a lot of stuff about trauma and reparenting yourself is this chick who goes by the Holistic Psychologist on Instagram and YouTube. It's the Holistic Psychologist with dots in between. She's great. She does really good digestible stuff on reparenting because that's what we are doing here. If you feel abandoned by your parent, you have to reparent yourself, which sounds crazy overwhelming, but it's actually not. It's all about identifying what your psyche is saying and then coming up with mantras to counteract that. And as I was doing research for this video, I was like reparenting. I was like, yeah, how can I reparent myself? And I'm like, my job, this job here is part of my reparenting. And you guys say all the time, you're like, Mom, you're like big sis. And I'm like, oh yes, I give what I lacked. And we see this a lot in people, like people whose families weren't very affectionate. Sometimes they're very, very, very affectionate. They do things that are essentially self-soothing, right? They're reparenting themselves without knowledge or intent, but it is healthy. They're giving themselves or seeking out what they didn't have. And again, healthy to a point. There's a tipping point occurs. We've all seen that where it's like, my parent abandoned me. I need love. I need every guy to love me. And I talk about this in my video about my dad on InStream, about how I swung super far to the opposite side to not be that cliche and how that's affected me and how that's also kind of turned out to be really difficult. So let's hear what Dr. Black has to say. So abandonment takes many forms. There's the obvious, someone walks out, you never see them again. But in some ways, that's almost the best case. They're just gone. And then what you have there is grief. Obviously, there's abandonment issues, but I think someone who dances in and out of your life is infinitely worse. I mean, we see that with fuckboys, It's awful to get ghosted, but at least it forces you to move forward. There's not this constant in and out where you then normalize their behavior and tell yourself this is love, and it isn't. There's also abandonment while you're still there. There is something called emotional abandonment. Let's hear about emotional abandonment. Lack of appropriate supervision. Inadequate stuff like nutrition, meals, the basics. Inadequate clothing, housing, heat, shelter. Physical and sexual abuse. Emotional abandonment occurs when parents do not provide the emotional conditions or the emotional environment necessary for healthy development. And she says, she likes to define this as occurring when a child has to hide a part of who they are in order to be accepted or to not be rejected. That's really interesting, right? We view abandonment as something that we don't have like a role in. I mean, and we don't, like, it's never our fault. But when it's us hiding something, how that can be a hallmark of abandonment, I think that's really interesting. Now, to a degree, that's sort of the human condition. Like, we sort of have to hide certain parts of ourselves or minimize them and amplify others in order to be socially accepted. We can't be like, hi, nice to meet you. I watch tentacle porn. It just, no. Shh. It's nice to meet you. Stalin had some good ideas. Nope, don't do that. So when you're a child, though, this is different. They mean hiding part of yourself as in the things that have needs. I dated someone once who was like emotionally abandoned by his parents. They were both there in the house with them, but he was never able to get his needs met. He not only had to hide certain things, he also had to amplify other things in order to get the attention that he needed. It could never be, Mommy, I have a tummy ache. Oh, what's wrong? It was, Mommy, I ate glass and I have a tumor, I have cancer, and I haven't slept for 3 days and I'm throwing up blood. It just, everything had to be huge in order for him to get his needs met. And so that turned him into being a drama king. He was unbearable. It was unbearable because it was like every Uber that he got out of, it was this huge story with the Uber and a huge catastrophe at work and a huge blow up with a friend. And I'm like, enough. I finally had to say, I am already listening. I'm already listening. I'm your girlfriend, okay? I am already listening to you. Please turn the volume down on everything. Enough with the drama. Enough with the drama. So that's a mantra you can hold on to if you think, maybe I do a touch of that myself. They're already listening. They're already listening. I am being heard. I am being heard. I am being heard. Right? And if you don't feel like you're being heard by people in your life, you need different people in your life. You need to either communicate more clearly and effectively and be like, hey, this is what I need right now. I need to go home. I need food. I need you to listen to me because I've had a bad day. I need you to be supportive. I need you to listen and just offer me an ear instead of trying to fix something. And if those things don't work, then you can be like, okay, I need new people. The person in front of me, they're not hearing me. So I'm going to go with someone who isn't so emotionally deaf, right? So having to hide yourself, this is what that manifests. It's not okay to make a mistake. It's not okay to show feelings. And if you do show feelings, if you do say something, you're being gaslighted and told that's not true. You have nothing to cry about. That didn't hurt. You have nothing to be angry about. That didn't happen. You're being dramatic. We've all had people tell us that. And a lot of times it do be your own people. It do be your own sister, your dad, your mom, whatever it might be. It's not okay to have needs. Everyone else's needs are more important than yours. It's not okay to have successes. That's crazy. Accomplishments are not acknowledged and are many times discounted. Oh, you think you're such a big person because you made the soccer team? Who cares? You're not nothing. You're worthless. That shit you'll remember for the rest of your life. Other acts of abandonment. Children can't live up to the expectations of their parents. These expectations are often unrealistic and not age appropriate. Well, why didn't you make varsity? Well, because I'm a freshman, and freshmen really don't make varsity. Well, if you'd maybe practice more, you'd make varsity. Children are held responsible for other people's behavior. They may be consistently blamed for the actions and the feelings of their parent. And I know a lot of you guys, if you were raised by a single parent, have felt that way because a single parent is a dictator. They don't necessarily want to be and they don't mean to be, but that is the underside of having to do it all on your own. Like this is your own little kingdom, and what single mom or single dad says goes. And there is no room for dissension. I remember realizing this when I was like 4. I was really young and I was like, if I don't get along with this woman, it's going to be a really long, lonely life. And fortunately, my mother is great and she's very reasonable and she's very logical, but no one is all the time, And, she'd have her moments, and it made me a people pleaser. It made me teacher's pet. It made me very agreeable. It made me need to be the prom queen and the most popular. People had to like me. Because from my experience, if people, aka my number one opinion leader, my parent, didn't like me, I was literally out in the cold. Like she could throw me out into the snow. There was no snow in Southern California, but emotional snow. And that was it. To whom do you appeal when you're raised with a single parent? There's not dad to go to. I didn't have any siblings, aunts and uncles or cousins. I had my grandmothers, and that's at the end of the day, they don't have the rank that a parent does. So it's a lot. It can be a lot to deal with. Next, disapproval. We're still talking about what constitutes emotional abandonment. Disapproval towards children is aimed at their entire being. You are bad because you didn't pick up your toys. You are worthless because you peed your pants on the car ride home from Disneyland. It's aimed at their entire identity rather than a particular behavior, such as telling a child he's worthless when he doesn't do his homework, or she's never good enough to be a good athlete because she missed the final catch of the game. Oof. Many times, abandonment issues are fused with distorted, confused, or undefined boundaries, such as parents don't view children as separate beings with distinct boundaries. Parents expect children to be an extension of themselves. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Isn't that weird? The cool parent is the abandonment parent. And we don't think of it like that. We think of it the opposite. And that's what fucks us up. It's like this huge existential gaslighting. It's like, well, she's my best friend. She's coming with me to all these parties. We're going shopping together. I'm telling her all these things. Clearly, she hasn't abandoned me. A lack of boundaries means abandonment, because what is abandonment? Remember, your needs aren't being met. Abandonment does not mean they're not here in the house. Of course, it does mean that, but it means that because your needs aren't getting met. And children need boundaries. They need structure. They're like dogs. We're all like dogs. We're animals. We're like dogs. A well-trained dog is a happy dog. They know where they can pee. They know what they're allowed to bark at. They know who they can bite and who they can't. They know. And dogs want clarity. And man, humans want clarity too. We want stability. We want predictability. Because what are we? We're cavemen. We're reptiles. And if that caveman doesn't know where the boundaries are, they can't keep themselves alive. It all goes back to a very basal person, a very rudimentary creature. We need to know. And again, that's why people who dance in and out of our lives make us so crazy, because we don't know. We don't know where we stand. I feel like I'm getting redder and redder. What is happening to me? What is happening to me? I am allergic to bad bhadbhabie. When parents' self-esteem is derived through their child's behavior, Kris Jenner. And again, we don't think of Kris Jenner as being an abandoned. She didn't abandon the family. If anything, maybe Bruce and Caitlyn did. You know, choosing a whole... We know he abandoned his previous kids. They fucking hate him. But again, it's about needs not being met. Healthy needs not happening. When children are treated as peers with no parent-child distinction, right? So, what can we do to counteract these things? Girl, you got to get in some therapy. You got to get in some therapy, baby girl. I am a huge fan of therapy. I can't fix your childhood abandonment issues in a 30-minute video. I wish I could. Do you know what a billionaire I would be? But I can tell you some practical cognitive behavioral steps to take. I have talked before. I am a huge fan of mantras. Huge fans of self-talk, positive self-talk. Because what fuels our behavior is negative self-talk. You act like you're not saying things to yourself 24 hours a day. Oh, you are. So why not make those things positive? And it is tough. I remember I did a challenge. Remember my challenges? Look on the playlist. I did a challenge one time about challenging you to create positive spirals instead of negative ones. And it was shocking how hard it was. You know, we're lay there in bed and it's like, I'm going to go to this party and everyone's going to hate me. And I'm going to walk out of the bathroom, toilet paper stuck to my shoe. Try to spiral up. I'm going to go to this party and everyone's going to compliment my outfit. And they really like the dip that I brought. And I go to the bathroom and my eye makeup hasn't moved at all. And then this cute guy comes talking to me and oh my God, I had the best time. It's not natural. You really have to think about each one of those steps up. But thinking about negative things, oh my God, it's automatic. It is so easy. But like anything else, you got to practice to be good at it. And we have been practicing negative spirals. We just don't realize it. We practice them all the time. We catastrophize. We don't listen to our intuitive, loving brain. We listen to our crazy, manic, anxiety, panic brain, right? And it teaches us how to spiral really quickly and really well. So let's work on positive spirals. Make that your goal today. Have one positive spiral. Something that you would maybe normally negatively spiral about. I'm gonna get fired from my job and I'm gonna go into work after this quarantine and everyone's gonna realize how much work I did. And they're gonna offer me a bigger position. And they're gonna offer me an office. And I'm gonna sit right next to the machine. Spiral up. Next, the mantras. Like I said, I want you to go back through this list, rewind it if you need to, and think about what points resonated with you. Let's pick one. Let's do an example. Let's do, it's not okay to have needs. A lot of us felt this way as kids, especially if we had a single parent. Mom was stressed out, dad was stressed out. It's like, what? What do you need? What do you need, Melissa? I can't. They're tired. They're frayed at the edges. Now we as adults, it's like we get it. Like we can feel how stressful life is. And if you had a kid be like, Mom, I saw a fire truck and it's like, what? I don't want to hear the stupid story. You know, I'll get you your string cheese in a minute. So if you felt like it was your needs weren't getting met, you couldn't communicate them, and that's bled over into your life, you can't communicate your needs to the dude you're dating. You can't communicate your needs to the friend who always talks about herself and never asks about you or ever listens. You can't communicate your needs to your boss and ask for that raise and go for that promotion. Here's the mantra. My needs are valid. I am okay the way I am. I deserve to be heard. I want you to come up with a phrase that feels like anti-venom, that feels like the opposite of what that other negative self-talk feels like. Run through a few. Write them down. I write my mantras down and I stick them on my fridge. You come in my house, I look like a crazy person. That's fine. I don't care if I look like a crazy person. I care if I feel like a crazy person. And putting mantras up to remind myself, I have one on my bathroom mirror, one on my fridge, one in here in my filming room. It's like, I need constant reminders to do the healthy thing, because it's like anything else. You have to practice to be good at it. And practice is often very clumsy. You watch anyone practicing a sport, it's not perfect, it's not smooth, it's clumsy, it's embarrassing. Watch someone practicing their instrument, they're hitting a lot of wrong notes. It's embarrassing. Practicing being a healthy person feels clumsy and embarrassing at times. That's okay. It doesn't have to have an audience. It doesn't need to be something we announce to the world, something that we do in public. It happens in those quiet moments. I'm doing a lot of shooting here in Montana. Guns, not filming. I need to film more, but I'm having fun shooting guns. And you want to shoot, you want to fire your gun at the bottom of your breath. So between breaths, ideally between heartbeats. And because that's when accuracy is. And I was like, that's such a good metaphor for us improving in general. When we can find those quiet spaces between a party, between the text messages, between the scrolling on our phone, between job shifts, we can find those quiet moments, bam. That's when we hit it. That's when we're accurate. That's when we're deadly in the best way, emotionally deadly to those bad things inside of us. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So you want to look for those bottom of the breath moments, between the heartbeat moments. And if you can't find them, make them. Make them. Go out one less night a week. Work one less shift. Well, no, you got to make your money. Turn your phone off. One of my friends does no contact Sunday. She doesn't use technology at all. She completely unplugs. And people know this. She's like, hey, I don't talk to anyone on Sunday. That's my day to restore, to renew, to do whatever it is I want to do. I will get back with you Monday or whatever. And people are like, okay. People don't take it personally if they know up front what's going on. And that really helps her thrive in a very stressful industry. She's an actress. She's a celebrity, actually. And she's like, this is just what I need to do to be good. That's her bottom of the breath moment. That's her in between heartbeats kill shot. And that's why she's able to be effective. And that's really inspirational for me to stand next to and watch. And it inspires me to take those emotional timeouts. Because again, if you feel guilty doing that, that goes back to this. I can't have needs. My needs can't be met. It's not okay to show feelings. It's not okay to make a mistake. Right? This comes back a lot. And it's really just a matter of becoming aware. Just understanding what's fueling behavior really does go so far in terms of clipping it. Like, it really does. So just give yourself the time in the room to pause and observe, because we can't change what we don't acknowledge. So give yourself the room to acknowledge your feelings, to acknowledge where those things are coming from, and to acknowledge that you are now stepping forward into your life as an adult and you are changing the script. Proud of you. For more, click like and subscribe. And like I said, find me on the new platform, Esteem, where I talk more about my own daddy issues and, hopefully make you guys feel better. It's really something that I don't share with a lot of people. Well, now the entirety of the internet. Great job. But monsters live in the dark. We always say that. We got to walk in the light of the truth, and light is a great antiseptic. I'll see you later, Shalloners. Mwah!